he's not the best player in the world, basically.
Well, Tiger Woods has 14 major championships in his life. That's still 4 behind Jack Nicklaus, but he thinks he can obviously get there. He thinks he can win more than just the 18 that Nicklaus has. What do you think? Do you think he'll ever, obviously you said he's still a great player, but will he be that great to win 4 more championships?
I think he can do it. You know, being able to do it and actually executing is a different issue, but this isn't like he's 40 years old and he's within 2. He's young enough. I think his game is gaining great traction this year. He seems to be happy or happier. He's had a lot to, and again, Tiger shot himself in the foot numerous times, both feet numerous times here. So his problems are of his own making. However, that said, to get over being divorced, getting over being a single father, getting over to, getting his game back together, having lost tens of millions of dollars in endorsements, again, all his own doing, I think what we're seeing his game reemerge here, and it wouldn't surprise me if he went on again a 3 to 5 year tear, and those numbers are reachable.
Let's quickly talk about the 14-year-old phenom of the Masters, Tianlang Guan, the Chinese player who made the cut, surprisingly, the youngest player to ever play in the Masters. Tom, what do you see on this story? Just what's your opinion on this young golfer who's come up and has really, you know, proven his own in the Masters?
I think that's great. A kid who's 2 years younger than me is able to compete in a high-level, high-intensity major, a golf major in the sport. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I know. You know, he's 14. You don't expect him to really win one, but just the fact he's able to compete, you know. I know he's 14, but, you know, in 10 years, you know, I think he could definitely be winning, like, Masters, you know. He could be, like, the next, like, Tiger Woods, you know, type, like, success type person, you know. If he's able to compete at 14, if you say that you're always getting better, if he's able to improve every single year, then he definitely could be like an absolute star, you know.
All right, Dylan, on that note, we're going to switch gears now to some hockey talk.
Of course, your
it's
favorite.
my thing. Yeah. Now, obviously, the Bruins with a very demoralizing loss last night in Carolina, and they did not play terrible, but they kept giving the puck away at their own blue line. That cannot happen if they want to go far in the playoffs. Kevin, did you see the game last night?
I did. I certainly did.
What are your impressions on it?
Very much what you saw. I think they're well, everyone focuses on the fact that they can't score or they aren't scoring, but I think their problems are more in the back. You mentioned the turnovers. There were too many times they don't even get to the turnover stage. They mishandle the puck. They get pinned in their own end. Shara especially is having trouble with some of the smaller forwards, which isn't new. But they've taken Hamilton out of the equation. I think they'll get him back in soon. But they're searching for an answer there, and I thought the charge going into the trade deadline for Peter Chiarelli was to come up with some answer for the defense. The only answer he came up with was Wade Redden. They haven't put Redden in yet. Redden in his day was a great player and a good puck mover. But I think they're going to struggle here. I don't see that there's some magic wand. You know, everyone talked about put Sagan in middle, in center, and he'll help the offense come around quickly. But I don't see. They don't have that kind of speed that they're going to score prolifically, and when you add in their back-end troubles, I think they're in trouble.
Yeah, and let's not forget, the Bruins pummeled the same Carolina team 6-2. Tuukka Rask still had to make 40 saves in that game. So it just didn't. The problems have always been there for in the past couple of weeks.
Well, how much of this do we think is on the players, and how much blame do we put on Claude Julien?
Claude Julien has nothing to do with it. It's poor execution by his players.
Well, I think there's a little bit of both here. I think Claude's system or template is very fixed and very simple, which works. They won a cup with it. They won a cup with the same system and without a power play, which amazed me. They still have the same system. They still don't have a power play. I don't think they can do it again.
Well,
they did it because they had the greatest goaltending in the history of the playoffs with Tim Thomas. Rask is good. I think Rask is good enough for them to win it again. But I don't see that their defense is good enough right now, and I don't see that they've got the goal scoring, or they especially don't have the power play.
Anyway, Kevin, what are your impressions about Jaromir Jagr so far?
I've been impressed. He's slow, which works against him. I think it would work against him more if this were a faster team. But I do like what he does the best, which is he can control the puck. He can hold it. He can use his body to leverage people off. He can make other people on his line better, even though he's not a center, he's a wing. So that's rare in and of itself. So a good pickup. I wasn't all that wild about them going after Iginla. That failed. I was happy with this as a backup. And I think he helps the team, which is all you ask from these trade deadline acquisitions.
Well, there are certain players like him who you expect on your team to step up. Another player who we've been looking to step up for a couple of years now has been Milan Lucic. And when he broke into the league, he was this banger who just wanted the puck and was intense and aggressive. And, you know, he's trickled off a little bit. And what can we expect from him now going into the playoffs? Is he ever going to retain the way he used to be?
Well, it's a great question. And I think it's one of the key issues for Milan is he has to play angry, and he doesn't anymore. You talked about when he broke in the league, and there was really no one like him because of the way he fought, the way he hit, and also scored. But now he's not scoring at all, or virtually at all. He's gotten away entirely from this banging game, so people aren't backing off. He doesn't get the space that he used to get. I think for him, I think it's quite simple. He's going to have to get mad, and he's going to have to start pounding on people. And you know what? It could be he's looking at a $6 million a year contract. He doesn't feel he has to do it. But for him to be effective, he's going to have to do it.
Mm-hmm. Kevin, what's your opinion on the Carl Soderberg business? Like, what's that?
Well, it appears he's going to be here this week. They finally worked out all the technicalities or all the surrounding issues to his contract. So he's under contract. He has his release. The Swedish national team says he can leave. I always put an asterisk to this because this has taken years to get here. He's not wanted to come. Then he did want to come, and then in this last permutation,
didn't the Sweden League block the Bruins?
Yeah, the last part of this was the World, not the World Juniors, but the World Championships are coming up. They're going to be played in Helsinki and Stockholm. The Swedes wanted him to play on their team. Now they say he can go, so I imagine there was some money involved. So he's on his way. I don't think people should look at him as some great fix here. He's a center, which helps because they do need help with Bergeron out with concussion. Marchand's out on the wing. I think the most you can hope is he can come in here at this time of year and be a serviceable player. You've got to remember, he's got to get used to a smaller ice surface. He's played his entire career on a big ice surface, and we saw just with Tyler Seguin this year that there's a transition period.
How much do you think it hurts the team that Claude Julien has played his lower lines so much and has refused to...
Oh, that drives me crazy.
Has refused to really just make a statement on them. And
well, again, that's his system. He rolls 4 lines, right?
But he can't.
He's playing some of these third and fourth liners more now, frankly, because Horton's doing nothing and Lucic is doing nothing. A lot of nights Krejci doesn't do much. So if you only talk about the third and fourth liners when the first and second line doesn't produce. You know, I think the greatest argument you can make against Claude is on the power play when you don't see Seguin out there. That is infuriating because he is a guy who's got some stick skill.
And Kevin, what's your stance on fighting in the NHL, which is a very sensitive issue right now?
Yeah, you know, I've always liked it, but I finally, over these last 2 to 3 years, I've finally reached the point. And I'll tell you why. I think the game is too violent now. I think people are getting hurt. I think the injuries are almost gratuitous. I think what has to happen is they somehow have to dial back on the overall violence of the game, and the easiest way for them to do that is to stop the fighting. There's a lot I still like about it. You know, I can still tap into sort of that primal kind of.
It's a contact
visceral
sport.
Yeah, but you don't have to have it. You know, football is a contact sport. They don't have it. These other sports run with a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
NBA, they don't have it. You don't have to have it. I think there was a time, given what Americans knew about hockey when it was the original 6, if you wanted to sell it in America, I think you almost had to have fighting. But now I think enough people know, and people like it for the speed of it and for the contact, that you don't have to have people out there knocking each other over the head.
But fighting draws the casual fan to hockey.
Yeah, and sometimes
Doesn't
it can get momentum too, you know? It can get momentum into a team.
That's how you sell the game.
Yeah, it gets the crowd entertained, and then once the crowd gets entertained, the team gets energy, and then...
When you attend the games and there's a fight, everybody's standing up, it's awesome, it's great. And everyone's really... There's so much energy in the building. And in my opinion, if you get rid of fighting, you're taking one step closer to eliminating all physicality in the sport, which I do not want that to happen.
I don't know if you're getting closer to getting rid of all physicality, but I understand your point that, you know, it's a really very energetic sport, and it's a game of runs, a game of momentum. So there's definitely both two arguments to be made about the pros and cons of fighting.
It's the culture of the sport, and I really don't want to see it.
It's the culture of the sport, but I think that it has plenty of hitting. We can document that. You can see the number of hits at the end of the night can be anywhere from 25 to 50 to 60. So I think there's plenty of contact involved. I would say the sport, from a self-examination, ought to take a look at the lack of goal scoring. I think if there's more goal scoring from the casual fan standpoint, which is a great point, if they had more scoring, the casual fan would be better hooked, or more frequently hooked.
Well, do you have any suggestions to increase the scoring, like less offsides penalties, a bigger goal?
Yeah, all those are in. You know, that's some of them.
They did get rid of the two-line pass.
They got rid of the. They took out the center red line, and that has not helped. In fact, I could make a case that has actually diminished scoring. One thing you have to remember about hockey: when it's played at even strength, the team on the attack is always shorthanded. Because the team on the attack, when it goes into the offensive end, is fighting 5 other skaters and the goalie. So by nature of the sport, you're not going to score. You're always trying to score with 5 against 6, and they've given the goalie too much equipment. He's too much of an advantage in the sport now. So what I would try to do, I would take a look, and they sometimes do these things in research and development camp. I would say that you're never allowed, as the defensive team in your own end, you're never allowed 5 skaters in the zone. You're only allowed 4 skaters and the goalie, which means now it's 5 on 5. And I think 2 things are going to happen. You will get some better scoring, although we know from power plays only score 18% of the time. So it's not going to be a dramatic uptick. I think what could happen is, because now as the defensive team, you're always going to have 1 player outside the zone. That player is going to get sprung for breakaways, not all night long, but enough that will increase scoring, and it certainly will increase the excitement factor.
Well, Kevin, going back to fighting, what if a player like Sean Avery is getting inside the head of one of your best goal scorers and fighting, and this is in a league where fighting has been tossed out, what if, like, how can you combat like a player like that?
Well, the Sean Avery types, of course Sean Avery's retired now, but the Sean Avery types who agitate, frankly, I think you can play past it. I think the best answer in these things is always scoring. But if what you're talking about, agitation and illegal stick work, which really wasn't Avery, he was more of a talker. But the constant concern in this is that some of the players who play a cheap game and play with a lot of stick violations, frankly, they've got 4 officials on the ice. If the two referees and the 2 linesmen can't work it out, then get better officials. Because I don't think the fact, they talk often about the players self-policing this. I don't think the players should self-police it. They've got 4 guys out there paid to be police. Let them do their job.
Very good points. All right, thank you so much, Kevin Paul Dupont. We're going to take a quick timeout here at K Sports Sunday. We'll be right back.
Hello everyone, welcome back to K Sports Sunday. I'm Max Kleiman. Thanks again to Kevin Paul Dupont for joining us. We're here with Dylan Quint and Tom Kelly. Now we're going to talk some Red Sox, one of the bigger stories in April, coming back from spring training and really coming out strong right out of the gate. They're first place in the division right now, won again today. One of the minor problems, well, major problems, but one of the few problems the Red Sox have had this season is the closer position, Joel Hanrahan. On the season, he's 0-1 with 3 saves, but an ERA of 11.57. Now, they've said that he has some hamstring issues, so it's a mechanical problem. They're not going to pitch him for a few days, see if he heals. But they also have other players, such as Andrew Bailey, Koji Uehara, who have come in and have just been so strong. What have you guys seen from Joel Hanrahan, and do you think that this is a serious problem that they need to switch closers?
Sorry. Right now it's early in the season, so just can't say. But yeah, but if he's pitching like this all the time, like that high of an ERA, you're not gonna. Yeah, you have to change him. But I think you got to give him more of a chance because it's only a few games. And the hamstring problems. If he says his hamstring's better, he's still struggling. Then yeah, but I think for right now you have to give him a chance. What about you, Tom?